focus. Surprising on our part, eh? Sounds like Chad and I got a new quarterback. I think Kalen's still wishing he's getting one, but don't worry, man. Check's in the mail. It's on the way for you. How you boys feeling so far, Chad?
I got the best news. The best news possible yesterday around dinner time, and it wasn't that dinner was ready. It was the fact that Tom Brady's like, "Hey, you know what? I hung with my family for a month, and like, you know what? I'm gonna come play football."
Yeah, well, I think every single parent that works probably realized the exact same. Well, I mean, any parent in general probably understood the sentiment of yeah, three months at home with the kids. I don't know, kind of felt like a COVID lockdown there. But Chad, how do you feel about my new skill of ripping videos? Because I pulled that just for you.
I knew that. I knew that. I had a feeling it was you because usually it's our
'Cause-
intern that does that stuff. But without
Yeah,
insulting him, that's a Shane move right there.
yeah, he does not know the Wolf of Wall Street. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I was a real. I couldn't stop laughing. I think I watched it probably 5-10 times,
Yeah, and
and I told
you know what?
everybody that you did that for me.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
knew.
absolutely. I put that into a lot of different groups, and I just wanted to make sure everyone had it. Kalen, how you feeling right now?
I'm good, man. I mean, I know you guys are talking about your signings. I mean, the Titans have signed pretty much everybody in house that I wanted them to. So far, it's been slow news for the Titans world, but I'm happy with it. And you know what, guys? Like, there's been some bombs. We're going to get into it obviously today, but like some crazy bombs with some crazy trades. We're talking Madden-esque type shit happened in the last week and a bit. So this is fun, man. This is my off season, you know?
Yeah, and look, we're gonna dive right into it. Before we do, the way we start every show, uh, today's the day to enjoy the win. Uh, got our friends over at Shake Lager, or you can enjoy Bangarang, however you want to get started. I decided to start my show with pink lemonade. So I'm going to take this pink lemonade down, and then I'm going to get into a little bit of Shake Lager and enjoy the win. But so far, we have two big winners, or one big winner, really, and that's Chad and probably Tom Brady. But before we get into the effect that Tom Brady is going to have on the Bucks, how about the biggest loser of all this? The guy on Saturday that paid $500,000 for Tom Brady's last game ball.
Does it become more valuable now or what?
No, I think at this point, it's just a ball that you threw around in a loss.
Yeah, no, that's what I said to the wife today too. It's like now it's just a ball that he threw. It doesn't really mean anything. I mean, you got to try and twist somebody's arm about it. Like, oh, it's the ball that he threw and he faked his or didn't fake his retirement, right? Who knows?
Yeah,
Jalen Ramsey's pretty happy. He came out and tweeted thanking Tom Brady for coming back. So he wasn't the last guy that got burned by him.
That's hilarious.
Well, that's good.
That's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Jalen Ramsey will accept a burn like that if it came with the Super Bowl. I know that he's a competitive guy, but at the end of the day, everyone just wants to win the Super Bowl. Now, yeah, that guy sucks. I mean, as far as the guy that bought the ball, I hope he didn't like mortgage his house thinking like, hey, babe, I got like the best investment ever. This is a Tom Brady ball. And then he's like, hey, pretty sure I'm divorced now. So we will.
It's kind of shitty that he waited until like literally the day after he sold it, right? It was the day it was just sold yesterday, and today is the day that he comes out and says he's coming back.
But like, there's no way that guy's married. If he's spending $500,000 on a football, like that's a single dude play.
Yeah, probably. I mean, does this prove that Tom Brady's the biggest scumbag of all time, though?
Stop it. Why?
Nah, it's everybody still thinks it's Aaron Rodgers, so he's good.
No, look.
Aaron Rodgers is just immunized, so no one likes him anymore. But at least Tom Brady, just an asshole. There's a difference.
Yeah. So for Tom Brady to come out of retirement the day after that football's sold, I think is a scumbag move. But ultimately, we talked about this a lot at the beginning part of the offseason after Adam Schefter decided to spoil the party. Tom Brady just cannot help but be in the news, eh? Like he cannot help himself but to like be around. And it took one soccer game with Cristiano Ronaldo to ask him if he was really done to come out of retirement. Like that sounds like the most insecure man I've ever heard of.
I saw the funniest meme though today, and it said Adam Schefter 28, Tom Brady 3.
See, well, the internet continues to be undefeated, apparently.
Y'all hating on the GOAT, though, man. He's allowed to be in the news when he wants to be in the news, when he's the greatest of all time and just continues to win.
Look, just don't walk away then. Like, don't retire. If you weren't sure, you shouldn't have done it. It's stupid.
I mean, is this the same? It's kind of the same shit that we saw with Brett Favre, though. He talked about hinting at retirement and then wanting to come back just to put the spite back to Green Bay and all that shit. I mean, it's not really, we're talking about a guy just, 20-something years he's been in the league. This is all he knows. I don't really feel too bad for him or I'm upset towards him or anything like that. I do think that he has some making up to do with that fan. I mean, he's done that before, right? Where he's slid somebody a Bitcoin or something like that for some gear or something like that he had, right? So maybe he does it this time.
Hey, Bitcoin is not going to pay for that football.
Yeah, I guess ask OBJ about getting paid by Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Bitcoin is in the toilet. Boys, we are officially live in Las Vegas right now. We just had Amar Decal jump on here. He's probably at a casino in Las Vegas right now. I just saw him pop up. Yeah, look, if this guy doesn't write Homeboy a check for $500K and let him keep the ball, I will continue to say he's the biggest scumbag of all time. I'm going to rate it this way. Biggest scumbag of all time will be Tom Brady, and then right below that will be Deshaun Watson. So
it's so funny that a Steelers fan is saying this, because if anybody that wasn't a Steelers fan was arguing with you, they'd be throwing Benny in there maybe too. Allegedly.
You're putting Tom Brady as a bigger scumbag than Ben Roethlisberger?
Allegedly.
I'm sure there's a couple of people you could ask that.
Well, why would Watson get?
You could only allegedly ask them, Chad. You can only allegedly ask them. You can't ask them for real. It's settled. Yeah, look, if Roethlisberger was coming out of retirement like this, and I've said this to Chad before, I thought that the Steelers had decided to move on. If Roethlisberger was coming out of retirement, he'd be playing for another team, and I would absolutely be hating on him. Tom Brady had kind of won me over with Tampa Tom, but this is such a New England Tom move. This is dirt. I mean, I'm happy for Chad that he doesn't have to go through like the "oh no, we suck again" shit. But
yeah, give me one more year, man.
I think
we had the backup to Blaine Gabbert as our starting quarterback.
Well, I just
Can we just say that was going to be my starting quarterback. The backup to Blaine Gabbert was going to be my starting quarterback.
You've defended that man every time I have made fun of him. You've defended him, and now
but you're
worried about him being your starter.
No, I'm not defending Blaine Gabbert's backup. So there's a difference.
Yeah. But that being said, guys, I mean, listen, we've talked about before. The NFC is weak as shit right now. I mean, you've got the Rams, and then what else do you have there, right? The shark is in the water, the blood's in the water, and Tom's the shark. He's smelling it right now. Like, Deshaun already said no to Seattle. It looks like he's probably going to the NFC, potentially to the Panthers or to the Saints. But you have a weaker division right now. Take advantage, and a weaker conference. Ride that wave when you can, right? I don't even know what your schedule looks like this season. Like, you got what?
We actually have the 5th hardest rated schedule in the league.
Do you know what division you're playing in the AFC?
I don't know offhand, but I know, we were in the top 5 most difficult schedules.
You're playing the North.
Which is funny because we're like the worst division in the NFC. So
so
that just shows you how bad the rest of our schedule is.
This is also where the hatred's starting to come in, because I kind of was looking forward to the Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Trask Bowl, and Tom Brady. Well, I guess that Mitchell Trubisky, which we'll get into a little later. They kind of fucked it up for us, Chad. I was kind of hoping that Kyle Trask versus Dewey Haskins, like call it like week 16 Monday Night Football. I thought that would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have got flexed real quick.
You can't flex Monday Night Football. That's what
they would have found a way.
Yeah, that's why the boys from Fox rolled over there, because they want to know what they're calling at the beginning of the game, so they can, or at the beginning of the season, so they can roll through. No, Brady coming back. I saw a couple of Bucks players actually sign elsewhere. Do you think that these deals were in place before, or I mean, does it? One of them was an offensive lineman.
It was just the guard. That was the only one.
Jensen came back right away and re-signed.
Yeah, Jensen came back. Marpet retired.
But they've lost 2 linemen now, right?
They lost both guards.
Both guards. Alex Kappa, who I learned and didn't know actually had a broken leg and tried to play on it against Washington. Like, he actually played on it. A broken leg as an offensive guard. That's ridiculous. And he's a really good offensive guard. Like, he wasn't just, showing up and putting in weight or whatever on the line. The guy's a really good rated guard. And I mean, the Bengals going to look good with him there, man. This is exactly what Cincinnati needed to do. They've locked up some good players, and their offensive line was something they need to focus on. Chad, it's a good guard, right?
No, it's a genius play by the Bengals. I was actually my biggest concern was I knew he was a free agent. I knew Jensen was a free agent. I was like, and then the Muppet retires like, sweet. So we have no interior offensive line. That was before Tom Brady came back.
And yeah, like go ahead, Chad. I was gonna say for Cincinnati, it's one step forward, two steps back. We're gonna get into that a little bit later in the hour, but let's stay on the Bucks. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, no, like I was just really concerned about it. Like where we do pick though, I think we can get an offensive lineman in the draft. Like they're pretty deep there, so I'm not too worried about that. Yep. I think we're gonna do it's a scary thing that we have to do, but we have to cater to Tom Brady in our draft. Like there's no way that guy comes back to play for a bunch of peasants and a bunch of slapdicks. Like if you're not gonna go build a team around him, it's not like why would he come back? So promises were definitely put in place. And we're going to have to keep our end of the bargain, and it's going to really handicap us going in the next couple of years. But if it gets me another run at a trophy, I'm going to take it.
All right. So the Tom Brady question, I mean, beyond him being a scumbag, we'll get past that. Do you think that all the rumors for quarterbacks and all the people that have been linked to Tampa, do you think that is the reason that Brady is back? Because I think that all along, he had the intention to come back. He was probably just going to wait until the summer. But now he's back. He has to go to OTAs and mini camps and shit. But do you think that's because they were pursuing guys like Deshaun Watson or Baker Mayfield, which, yeah, I agree. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I think he's so insecure. He knew that they wouldn't trade him. And if they got a new guy, they would just say, fuck you, pal. Just sit on the bench.
But like, where's he going to go? Like, I think he realized, like, should I have to sign now? Or where am I going to end up?
Yeah.
Like, other than Indianapolis, there's no team I'd want to go to that's really left that needs quarterback help.
Right. And Indy seems like they're losing a couple guys on their O-line. I don't think any of that stuff's official, but it just seems like as far as re-signs go.
So I think for him, it's like, shit, all these guys are getting, like, Tampa came out and said we're going to actively shop for a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't going, I thought that they would just roll with Trask and see what happens. Doesn't seem like Arians is in the mood for that. But it really threw a wrench in the quarterback market. And the quarterback market right now, I don't know as a sports fan or as a football fan if you can remember a wilder time than the last, 6 days? Since last Tuesday, basically, right?
It's been nuts.
Rodgers made his decision, goes back to Green Bay. Russell Wilson ends up with Denver, which, we could break down that trade till we're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, if the Broncos win games, I'm sure that they're comfortable with what they gave up. The biggest loser in that trade was Noah Fant, unfortunately for him. He just he can't shake himself. And then the Commanders decided to mortgage the future on Carson Wentz, which I think has a lot more to do with selling tickets and reigniting a rivalry with Philly than actually winning football games. But yeah, I'm curious how you guys feel about
one
that.
more signing today, though. Back. One more. You didn't mention the other one, a guy that you guys were high on a couple of years ago. He got himself out of Denver. He's backing up in Miami now, Teddy Bridgewater.
You got to win your deal about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, so that's a good fit for him. I think that he may actually be able to use like in type of scheme type of plays for them. But it's somebody that will push Tua, who still needs to be pushed for some reason.
That's the only reason why he's there.
Mm-hmm.
He's a veteran backup that if something happens goes down, they know they can plug and play him. And he's gonna let Tua learn underneath him. That's really all he's there for.
Yeah, I mean, has Teddy given up and just said like, "Yeah, I'm a backup now, just start collecting paychecks," or what?
I think he's now going to be Blaine Gabbert, Kalen's boy. Just be an eye on the sideline.
Well, he picked a hell of a state, no income tax, right? So he goes there, gets to sit in the pine a little bit, work half as hard, and collect all that money. I mean, not bad.
Man, if I'm a veteran, why wouldn't you go to Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any guaranteed money you have is all yours.
As far as the movement,
I think it'd be okay to live down there.
Yeah. As far as the movement, I know there wasn't a lot that could be moved out of the NFC because their teams, the quarterbacks coming from the NFC going to the A. I'm just still really surprised at how weak the NFC is and how, like, if you don't have a quarterback, you got to prop your team up somehow. And it just doesn't even seem like there's like that spending that's coming out of the NFC either. It seems like all the money's being spent in the A too. Like, well, specifically Jacksonville seems to be buying up damn near every free agent they can so far. So I'm just really surprised with all the movement with quarterbacks and with all the rumors and everything. Of course, Deshaun is going to obviously invigorate the NFC. He's going to be the youth talent, the only one that they really got over there on that side. So, but outside of that, like, what do you have there? I'm just really surprised as to what the NFC is doing. It seems like they're just lackadaisical the whole way here. Even the Giants, like, make a move.
Well, the Giants wanted Trubisky too, and we're gonna get in Trubisky. And I didn't want to lead off with that because
I'm really surprised you're not calling him his new nickname, Shane. Like, I really thought you were gonna pound this Trubisky thing into the dirt.
I feel like that's how you curse a guy before it starts.
Yeah, I'm not a big nickname guy. I can tell you that I'll get a Trubisky jersey if it comes down to it. But is the NFC? I mean, how weak they are. Brady's back, Aaron Rodgers is back. Is Matt Ryan the third best quarterback in the NFC right now?
Probably Dak.
You think Dak's good?
I think. Well, we're comparing.
Depends on
fucking Matt Ryan.
Yo, don't get his bio written by Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
he had some choice words.
But I would even put Kirk Cousins up in like that category for the NFC right now. There's no one there.
Cousins just got some more money too.
Yeah, that guy's agent is a stud.
Yeah. Everyone's thinking they're going to ship him out of town, and nope, we'll just go ahead and pile another extra, however much guaranteed on the back end.
35 guaranteed.
I'm pretty sure what he's made so far in Minnesota is the entire amount that Russell Wilson has made in Seattle, but his was all guaranteed. Like, just in Minnesota alone. Isn't that fucking crazy? He's got that team by the nuts.
And think about it, he made whatever, like $70 million from Washington before he even went there.
75, I think. He had 3 straight years of $25 million guaranteed.
And the wilder thing, and I mean, we're not going to get into tax breakdowns because we're going to bore the shit out of each other. But because Kirk Cousins is a resident of Michigan, he only has to pay the Michigan tax. He doesn't have to pay the Minnesota tax. It's some kind of like treaty that Minnesota and Michigan have, and that is why he went there. So a lot of guys, if your main residence is wherever, you have to pay taxes at both places, but apparently not if you're a Michigan resident and you play in like Minneapolis.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Yeah, the guy is unreal. But yeah, so you're feeling that this Deshaun Watson thing is like it's a done deal? Like, you think NFC for sure?
Well, yeah, I mean, so he's only said yes to having an interview with Carolina and with the Saints first. He already said no to Seattle, and any AFC team so far that has approached them, either Houston has flat out said no, so Indy was one of them. I think that's crazy that Indy would even reach out, try to trade that guy in division. Are you kidding me? But said no to Indy, and they weren't reporting on the other AFC team that reached out. But the NFC teams so far, Deshaun said no to all of them except for Carolina and the Saints, and he wants to give them their first shot at an interview first before he decides what he's going to do.
Like, has he been reinstated yet?
No,
he's never officially been.
He's never been on. Yeah, he's not even on the commissioner's list.
He might still be facing suspension too.
Oh, 100%. He's getting a minimum of 10 games. Like,
which is, I mean, hey, in the grand scheme of things, if you got a quarterback locked under 6 years, and if you don't play 50% of the games or something, like, it's just like probably like a franchise tag year, right? They have to play so many for that to accrue for a season. So if he's not playing, he's not accruing a season, right?
Yeah.
So would you feel so positive he was going to Indy, Kalen?
Excuse
me?
You
seem like you're very up on him right now. Would you feel so positive if he was going to Indy for 6 years?
Absolutely not. I think Deshaun Watson has been an incredible quarterback since college. I've loved watching him play quarterback. Unfortunately, he's been in my division. It's great to see, again, the Texans burn. I think that he can turn a team like Carolina into what we thought they could be. The Saints would be completely off the hook with all their cap nightmares, regardless if they got Deshaun Watson. Everybody's chasing a quarterback, and let's be real, Deshaun's a great quarterback. Does he hold on to the ball a lot and get sacked a lot? Yeah. But he's also played behind crap lines down there in Houston.
He needs a lot of massages.
That might be why he needs them all. That's right. He's getting tackled quite a bit in the backfield. He needs his backside rub. But no, I think that team, if he goes to a team like the Saints or he goes to a team like Carolina, again, Tom Brady's on the last legs of his career there. I think that they can certainly own the NFC South for quite some time. Either one of those teams.
Carolina is the only one that makes sense. If you're the Saints and you need to trade away however many, let's call it the Russell Wilson deal. So you're giving up 2 firsts, 2 second. Maybe you're keeping the players out of it. But how can you build your team? Like, you're already cash strapped. Are you going to trade for Deshaun Watson and then put a whole bunch of 7th round picks around him?
No, I don't think so. I think that a trade out of New Orleans would be more player hungry than it would be cap hungry or draft capital hungry. I think that that's where Carolina can provide the option of giving the draft capital, whereas the Saints, unfortunately, are handcuffed. They need to keep that because they don't have the money. But they can certainly eat up. They're willing to eat dead cap, I'm sure, if it's going to get them a quarterback in return. So you give up some. They got a good defense. They got some stacked defenders that they could probably let go of in order to make a trade sound good. If you have Deshaun Watson and Mr. Slant, that's a 1-2 punch. And their other
is Mr. Slant coming back? I don't think he is. Like, he's very unhappy in New Orleans.
No, he restructured his deal.
Yeah, he restructured his deal. So he's already coming back regardless. So if he comes back to play with Watson, that's even better. And I can't remember what the name of the small shifty receiver they got over there, but he's under contract for some time. And they have a pretty strong offensive young line. Like a lot of the offense of the trenches is under rookie type contracts or very, very easy going contracts. You can afford to get rid of some defenders if it's going to, and you're playing on turf inside the dome. We've talked about how good that can be before. I just think that Deshaun puts that team over the edge. Look what he did with Houston. And then look what Houston became when he just stopped playing. It was the same roster there.
Who's the running back in New Orleans?
Alvin Kamara.
I think that the legal system might have something to say about that.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're a Saints fan, tune in on week 11 because
that's when you finally get the team you're going to have after that.
Yeah. I mean, Deshaun Watson's probably not playing for a few years or a few games, and I'm going to say that if he gets off criminally, Kamara is probably going to miss at least 6 based on like other suspensions that have happened. But there's still a chance that he has jail time, eh? So like this guy, I mean. Apparently he fucked some dude up. I haven't seen any of it.
Oh yeah,
and it seems like it kind of got like pushed under the rug. But if everything that's being reported is accurate, it seems like Kamara might be spending some time in jail. So I'm not sure that putting Deshaun Watson into that mix cleans up the locker room. So I'm gonna say it's more likely that he ends up in Carolina because Carolina definitely is ready to win now. And I wouldn't even be surprised if one of the players going back with Carolina and Houston was Christian McCaffrey, as messed up as that sounds.
I agree. I wrote that. Somebody was talking about, CMC's only got so many years. This was on a forum page. So many years left. So they're obviously going to want to try and get the talent there offensively. And I just commented and said, what makes you think that CMC isn't going back in this trade? Like, what the hell does Houston have as running backs?
That's the only thing they can offer.
Well, that's really it. Like, I mean, you have a couple of good defenders. Like, unless you're going to give up somebody like Brian Burns, which most people would scoff at. But again, if you're getting a quarterback like Watson, Brian Burns can certainly be a player that you're willing to part ways with. Unfortunately, they completely gashed their secondary. They've got nobody. They got J.C. Horn as their best corner now, and I think they just signed Xavier Rhodes. That is right. Xavier Rhodes got signed there as a safety. So that's who they're rolling with in their secondary, and Jeremy Chin, who's a second-year player, right? So they're going to have to give up something on defense, I feel, because that was their strong component before. And Brian Burns might be that angle. Everyone wants an edge rusher.
Yeah, well, and I mean, Houston needs everything. So
yeah,
they will definitely take what they can get. Now, we could speculate about a Deshaun Watson trade. I don't know. We could probably find multiple suitors, but it is interesting that he's chosen those two teams. I think that, like I said, the obvious pick to me would be the Panthers, just based on cap space and what they can actually put around you. But how about this Cleveland Browns thing? And they made a deal for Amari Cooper.
They gave him a trash bag for him, so that was okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that the Cowboys were pretty much done with Cooper, which I don't know. I was surprised about it. I mean, I'm not going to repeat his comments on here, but apparently what he said to Dak Prescott hurt his feelings, and another guy with a team that was unhappy with his inoculation status. So you ship him out of town for a 6th-round pick, and he probably is like, hey, fuck you guys. Now I have to go to Cleveland. And now Cleveland has decided that Jarvis Landry is no longer wanted in the building, and he's gone. So has there ever been a more Cleveland Browns move? Let's bring in a guy that's a problem, that has caused havoc in what was considered the number one offense in the NFL. And they paid you all the money you wanted, and they went and got you. And let's cut the guy that literally does everything for us.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't understand why Jarvis wore out his welcome in Cleveland at all. I think he was a hard worker. He kept his head down, didn't talk shit. He recruited when he was asked to recruit. He got one of the reasons why OBJ wanted to go to a team like Cleveland, was okay with that, was because Landry was there.
100%.
He's been a team player in Miami. Remember, he was in a shit team in Miami with Ryan Tannehill back then too, and again kept his head down. I don't understand why he got pushed. It just sounds to me like a Cleveland guy. Blue collar, works hard, puts stats on the field. He was probably the only guy that actually showed up every single game, besides maybe the running backs there in the offensive line.
Yep.
And Armari, like, let's not mince words. He's one of the best receivers in the league. He's one of the best route runners in the league. This is well known. I mean, last year he had some injuries, so he had some sloppy routes. But why are you so sore about this? There's a CD Lamb's a number one. Michael Gallup is a very competent number two, and they just franchise tagged a tight end there. Then they got the two-headed monster in the backfield that's getting paid. At some point, something's got to give, right? And then DeMarcus Lawrence getting 3 years, $30 million. Just go about your business, Armari. You're going to play with Baker, who's a gunslinger. More of a gunslinger than Dak. Is he better? I don't know about that, but he's a gunslinger. Nonetheless, you're going to get the ball thrown to you.
He's certainly not better.
No, I just don't know.
He's still better than Daniel Jones.
I have made. I'm going to take some heat probably from you guys in this comment, but I truly believe, after watching last year's Dallas offense and the way that it has to run, that Dak Prescott is nothing more than a Ryan Tannehill 2.0. He needs that monster in the backfield that controls the running game, and they play off of that. And when you give him a number one like CeeDee Lamb, he's going to play really, really well. Who wasn't injured the whole year. Unfortunately, my number one was injured.
Yeah, so look, I for the Cowboys fans out there that, they're like, yeah, we're good to lose Cooper because we still have pieces. There's another part of this, and the other part of this just signed with Miami, and I don't think many people are noticing it, but the guy that filled in for them and the guy that caught a lot of balls for them when other guys were injured, and he was just always out there, he was always around to make the big play, was Cedric Wilson. And Cedric Wilson, who is he just walked to Miami. I don't even think anybody noticed.
Yeah. Well, when the fourth,
that's a big
receiver,
one.
Yeah, he's the fourth on the team, but the third really now. What he should third ranking receiver now. But you're right, it is a big one. But I mean, Chad, you could probably find a slot receiver anywhere in the draft, right?
I wouldn't go that far.
So what do you think? This is going to be detrimental to the offense? Is Cedric Wilson, what was he riding, 500 to 700 yards a game? Can that be found somewhere else in a draft type?
I don't think anybody puts up 500 yards a game.
It'd be nice if he could, though. But no, what this does is it doesn't necessarily mean that they need to replace him. It tells you everything you need to know about what style of offense they're going to run next year, and it's going to run fully. It's going to be fully like Pollard and Zeke, and they probably had to make their decision between Cooper and Zeke, which guy you wanted to keep, and they decided to go for the running back. I mean, in this day, like, we gave up on running backs for how many years? 5-6 years, but it continues to go back to, if you need to close a game, it's a running back. What can Dallas not do? Close a game. It's because they didn't allow Zeke to carry the ball enough, and they tried to mix in Pollard, and they were throwing the ball 50 times a game. So they need to give each of these guys 20 touches and then just see if CeeDee Lamb or Gallup can break one.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Let the ball run, or run the ball again like you used to in Dallas. Go back to that old style game. And you're talking about, they have depth. Across the wide receiver.
Chad is so mad at me that I just told him to run the ball. He's so fucking mad at me.
I don't run the ball. I fucking hate it.
And across the board, you got depth everywhere as far as pass catchers go in Dallas. If one was to go down to an injury, a couple weeks to full season, somebody else can certainly pick up their slack. But you can't risk that. We saw what happens when it's just Pollard being asked to carry the load. It's going to work for a few weeks. The guy's going to get worn out, and vice versa with Zeke too. At this point, he can't be doing that either.
Right, exactly. And you know what? This is perfect time if we're going to talk about a little bit of value. We always want to make sure you're checking out our friends over at Cool Bet. Check out Kalen's sweater. Chad's got the banner behind him. I got the hat on. These guys have been good to us. We always want to make sure you're being good to them. So we give you the value bet of the night. And we don't have any football. We don't have any college basketball. I don't care enough about the hockey or NBA slate tonight. So what I'm going to give you is a few future picks for who's going to win the March Madness tournament. We got our little bracket running too, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But I got 4 that you could probably make some money on. These are all outright winners. So don't be throwing a whole bunch of money on these, but if you sprinkled on these, I think that at the end of it, you're probably going to make a little bit of money. So Kentucky at plus 700. That's a nice one. I mean, right now, they're basically the second to favorite. Gonzaga is the favorite. I don't believe in Gonzaga at all. Baylor, who would be the defending champion, plus 1,200. Houston, who everyone is seems really low on, but the Houston team is much better than anybody gives them credit for. They just play in a shitty conference. They're at plus 2,500, and a Final Four team from last year who brought everybody back, UCLA, is at plus 3,500. So I think that they could play with just about anybody. They played in a little bit of a better conference than you would have expected. I mean, the Arizona team and USC teams are both pretty good. Oregon was okay. So those are definitely 4 teams to keep an eye on for if you want to make a little bit of money. Lots of value there. And when we move on to value.
But before we move on, did you put any money on that Duke-Syracuse game the other day?
No.
Oh, the spread was 14.5. I haven't seen that in a ball game in a long time, man. I call it, and like good programs, you know. Well, I guess Syracuse isn't really good anymore.
So this year was the first losing season for Syracuse since the 60s.
Oh,
isn't that wild? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, at least they kept it within the spread both times.
Well, hey, I mean, Boeheim needs to start recruiting outside of the family. He has his sons playing on the team, and that's about it. So you gotta tell Buddy to we'll see you at Father's Day. We don't have to see you at practice every day. Yeah. Well, when we get to value, we talk about a team that just knows how to spend their money, a team that generally wouldn't do something like this, but. If you've watched any of our offseason, you know that I have told you who the Steelers quarterback was going to be. And that's Mitchell Trubisky, who is now officially signed with the Steelers for 2 years. We speculated about how much money he's going to make. I told Kayla I thought it'd probably be about 10 to 12 million. Most of it will probably be back-ended. They're not going to structure it in a way that doesn't give Mason or Haskins a chance to win the job, but I mean, we know that if you get signed day one free agency, we know who the starting quarterback is week 1 for the Steelers, right?
Well, they said they've been pretty open about it. It's Mason's job to lose.
Yeah.
Well, they have to say that.
Do they? So, what do they owe this kid?
Well, I mean, first of all, if any chance you get to get Genie Bouchard in the stadium, I think you allow that to happen. But it's just like, I mean, it's no offense to Mason. It comes down to if you were him, would you ever be able to focus on a game plan? And I think the answer is no. I think it's a fair answer. Like, the guy goes home to Genie Bouchard every night. He can't be focused on the game plan. It's not his fault.
All him, eh?
And also, he got hit in the head with a helmet by Myles Garrett. Those are 2 big things that affect his capacity. It's going to be Trubisky. Number 10 is going to be under center week 1. It's a done deal. You heard it here.
I'm interested to see what he gets paid. He only what was his deal last time? I was reading it right. Last year's deal was a maximum of $4.5 million, and everybody was ranting and raving about him. I'm just really surprised, man. We didn't see anything of him. He never played like any snaps last year that we could really show has he improved. All the world is going off of is that the Buffalo Bills coaches have been ranting and raving and saying that he's vastly improved since day one.
And the offensive coordinator, who is now the coach of the Giants, wanted him to come to New York to take over from Daniel Jones. So that tells you a little bit of what you needed to know. Clearly, Trubisky made the business decision of, even if the money's the same, the talent isn't the same. I'm not saying that the Steelers roster is loaded on offense, but you have a running back that you know is going to be there. You have some receivers, and you have a defense of all pros. So which team would you have picked? I mean, that's obvious.
I don't know. I like New York, man. But you know what? I don't want to fuck with Danny Dimes. So maybe I do go to Pittsburgh.
Well, you go to Pittsburgh because they got the better roster.
I don't think it even comes down to roster. I think he knows he's winning the starting job in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Like, there's no way this guy can play any more football as a backup quarterback, or his career is over. So if I had to go and compete against Daniel Jones, who I don't think is good at all, I think he's fucking trash. But I think that he has a better chance beating Mason Rudolph than he does Daniel Jones, because Daniel Jones is still on a rookie deal, and from the franchise want to have ties to him still, because you don't just want to give him on a guy you drafted.
I'm telling you, like Mason Rudolph, they're saying all the things for Mason Rudolph to keep him happy. he is not on the roster. I don't think when it comes to like the final cuts.
I think we got to give the intern. We got to give him homework, and we got to make him go through all the older videos when we talked about Trubisky when he was on Chicago. So just when you start pumping this guy's tires when he's wearing the black and gold, we could put that clip up just so we know how you really felt about him 2 years ago.
Yeah, I could tell you how I felt about him as the quarterback of North Carolina. If you feel makes you feel better, but we didn't really have a show then. So I also don't think we had a show with him as a Bears quarterback. So
we did, yeah, because we talked about we can't throw left. He drops like 34% accuracy points. No joke.
I told you already. Derek Zoolander made a fortune not being able to turn left. I will take this guy not being able to throw left.
Defense is only got to cover one side of the field. I like it.
Yeah, perfect. And they can cover that side of the field, and he'll hand it to Najee Harris, who will run the ball. Yeah, no problem. Done. If they can, like, I'm not saying that this guy's going to come in as the gunslinger and throw it 40, 50 times a game. He's going to do exactly what they need him to do, which is manage the game. And he's got a little bit more athleticism than Mason Rudolph for sure. And he'll be able to run a little bit of a read game. Even if he was 60% of what Josh Allen can do, like, would you not take that as your starting quarterback?
Well, I know you would. That's way over the offense you've had for the last couple of years.
That's so dumb. Like, they've been to the playoffs the last 2 years. Roethlisberger did all he could with the offensive line that they had.
Wait. It wasn't the offense that got him there. Let's be honest. It was your defense of all pros that you just talked about.
It wasn't the offense that got them off to an 11-0 start 2 years ago.
No, is that all pro defense?
Come on. You're humiliating yourself.
And then the really, really weak schedule 2 years ago, too. We talked about that.
I think both those years they beat Tennessee, too, Chad. That's the
I know they did last year.
Yeah, and they did both the year before. They haven't lost to Tennessee since 2010. So
all I remember is Kalen blowing up your phone in the first half.
Yeah.
And then Liam messaging me in the fourth quarter being like, "Are you watching this?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Shane hasn't said a word yet. If I was Kalen, I would be so worried. We've both been there before."
Yeah. You don't want to be on the wrong side of that one. But look, I think it's a bright thing for the Steelers. Do I think that he's the quarterback in 6 years from now? No, I don't. But does this give them a little bit of a chance to continue Tomlin's streak, be a wild card playoff team, see if they can get into a run? Sure. Why not? Why not? Draft somebody, let them develop.
One thing streaky is that the quarterbacks in the AFC North outside of Cincinnati.
Look, okay, so we'll put this up, and we could maybe even put it up for a poll this week. Tomorrow, when he signs, is he not the second best quarterback in the AFC North?
I'm not. Yeah, I may agree with
you. He has to be. He has to be. I mean, you
can't
tell me Lamar Jackson's better.
He still has an MVP, though. Lamar. He still has an MVP.
Stop.
He does. I mean,
didn't Cam Newton get one of those?
Yeah.
How'd that work out for him? It seemed like it worked out pretty well.
Nothing's been normal since he dodged a fumble.
Still in the league, right?
I'm back.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Second best quarterback in the AFC North. I'll take that. Joe Burrow's clearly ahead of him. But Baker stinks and Lamar stinks. So we got a shot. All those teams in the AFC West aren't going to fucking make the playoffs. They're going to beat each other up.
What an absolute gauntlet that West is now.
Yeah. And free agency is making it a little bit more difficult. I think that a team, I mean, we talk about it every year. I think this might be the year for the Chargers. Honestly, they saw what the Rams did.
Too many times I've said that. I can't say that.
I'm telling you, like
they're
spending money
Cardinals.
They're spending money, and for some reason, everybody wants to go there, which I get. Like, everybody wants to play for the Lakers, but they settle for playing for the Clippers. I suppose is that how this works?
I guess in this scenario, yeah, the Clippers are kind of turned a heel there a bit.
Well, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You're going to the secondary team in the city. Got it, cool, whatever. But J.C. Jackson's a big get for them. They're going to be really good on defense. And I mean, people can sleep on Khalil Mack and say he's overpaid, but like Yeah, that's probably
building
not
that
a guy
team to beat Kansas City.
Yeah, that's probably not a guy you want to be messing around with on Sundays. So I think that they're really going for it. I mean, the other team that's spending a lot of money is the Jags, and I really don't get it. I think that they're spending money a little bit too early, but what do you guys think? Like Christian Kirk signing is a little bit of a joke, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to absolutely reset the free agent market or the re-signing market for wide receivers.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know what Godwin's going to get then if Kirk got that contract.
Well, whatever he gets, it won't be in Tampa. I think that contract alone has just probably priced him out of Tampa next year.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Fuck. Thanks, dickhead.
Yeah, well, and Brady probably won't be there for that anyway. Unless, can you tag somebody a third time, or is that two and done?
I think it's 2 and done.
Two and done. You got to sign him.
Yeah, it makes sense. Cincinnati took a big blow, and this is what I was saying a little bit earlier with the 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because they lost Ogunjobi to the Bears.
Yeah,
that's a tough one. That's a guy that held that defensive line together, made the secondary look a little bit better than it was. I mean, I think their secondary is pretty good still, but losing that guy, smashing in the middle, I think that they're going to feel that effect. And it's just, if we want to call Chicago the Cleveland Browns of the NFC, it's just another guy taking money that probably doesn't give a shit about winning. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, he showed up a lot in the playoffs. It was big that he was able to come back or to be able to play in the Titans game. And when they played in the playoffs, I love him as a defensive tackle. I just don't understand it. We talked about that $150 million in cap room. Like, it was a 1-year deal. I think he signed too. It wasn't even like a long-term deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Pony up, man. Like, you fix your interior line problem on the offensive side just to give up an interior line problem on the defensive side. And the defense, we've all said the entire playoffs, one of the reasons why even the defensive coordinator was getting kind of talked about as far as a head coach is because he completely turned the team around in 5.5 games, it seemed. I think it's an asinine thing that they've done, letting him walk. And then CJ Uzomah, I mean, he got paid too, but you had a guy who spent 8 years on a team that was bad for many years, who was there when they finally turned it around.
I didn't see
the Jets.
The Jets.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
the Jets made a couple good moves today. Then,
but that's just it. Seems like the players that have made the moves are the players that I made a comment to a Browns fan today who was being all pissed off. I said, "Oh, why you're so angry? Isn't it the offseason? Isn't it time when you guys finally win something?" Like the Jags and the Browns and the AFC always win the offseason, and the same thing on the NFC. You got those teams that just seem to always spend in the offseason as well. And where does it get them? How far does it get them?
At the end of the day, the Jags are the Jag, the Jets are the Jets, the Giants are the Giants. They're gonna suck.
You want to hear something wild? I mean, we're talking about winning the offseason. So after Tampa decided to come back, the Bucs were at a plus 2,200 to win the Super Bowl. They are now at a plus 750. I mean, that's a big one. And Kalen's probably gonna be like, "I told you." After I say this next thing, the Steelers were a plus 5,500 to win the Super Bowl. After the Trubisky signing, they're now a plus 7,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that. That was a pretty funny one. I don't know if I had sent that in the group chat or not, or I saved that for myself and I was going to bring it up later.
No, I'm a degenerate. I check all the gambling stuff. I can't help myself. I know what. Yeah, I was like, oh, you know what? Plus 5,500 isn't so bad. Like, I'd go throw a couple bucks on that and see what's up. And then I was like, oh, that's actually even better. I'll take the odds. You guys are underestimating. I just think with that team that you have, okay, I'm going to say this very politely. I want you guys to do well. I'm not going to say that very many times this season. I just think that the way that the offense is going to look is instead of the 5-yard slant or the 5-yard in that Ben would throw that would take 18 seconds to get there, it's just going to get there in 3 because Mitch has got that rocket arm still. Cool.
It's just still going to be a 5-yard or 6-yard slant or in.
Yeah. Deontay Johnson to the house. Gets there quicker, gets to the house. Good for him.
Maybe.
And Claypool's a beast. So you don't got to worry. If we play Tennessee this year, there's things that are certain in life. There's death taxes, and the Steelers are going to beat Tennessee. That's really really all it is, right?
Now I will tell you what I am worried about because you mentioned the team there, and we talked about the AFC West. I don't know if I've told you guys the schedule the Titans got this year. Of course, the AFC West team we just talked all of them. They got to play the number ones, and Green Bay is the NFC team with the NFC East. It's gonna be a gauntlet this year, boys.
Tough sledding.
Who are you facing this year? Do you know what the NFC division you're facing?
Yeah, the South.
Oh, you play the South this year. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
well, I guess that's good. You got one more, Chad. You got one more game you can hang on Shane there with Tom around, eh?
I don't talk before the game ends.
I kind of hope that Deshaun Watson gets traded to one of those teams and the Steelers play them within the first 10 weeks. That would be ideal circumstances. Like, let's run old Taysom Hill out there and see how if TJ Watt can take a couple years off his life.
God, how is that guy
What else stood out to you in free agency? And then we're going to move on to the remainder of the quarterback market, because I had a couple teams written down here that I'm kind of curious.
What did you say there, Sir Shane?
What else kind of stood out to you today in the free agency?
CJ Jackson, that was the big one for me. And I was like, after they had Clip Khalil, I was like, man, they're building that team to beat Kansas City. Right. They knew they could score with them. They just had to stop them.
Yeah.
So they get the pass rusher and they get the corner. So I think the Chargers, like, I don't want to curse them like I did the Cardinals every year, but I think they're finally ready to make their push.
Right. What about you, Kayla?
How expensive or how quickly offensive linemen, like the good ones, get plucked up real fast. Like they don't even last hours on the market. And and secondly is just the flip in a few years back, we had these corners that got paid ridiculous amounts of money. Corners just got paid. Not saying JC Jackson didn't get paid, but it seems like it just like, the game is, nobody cares about the defense anymore, that these wide receivers are just getting paid like shit. It's just crazy how much they're stacking on top of each other. And I know we got some, TV money coming here in the next little couple of years or a year or so, whatever. But like, where's the limit, man? The cap didn't jump that much. It jumped enough this year so that they could so a team could fit in somebody like Christian Kirk. It went up $20 million, and that's what Kirk's getting paid this year, right? Like,
so
it's
the sad part is
give.
that's what Jacksonville decided to spend that $20 million on.
Right, and if it was one of the three of us, we know what we spend our money on, and that's going to MJ's Roadhouse for some delicious wings and some of that yummy beer they have on tap. Those guys don't pay us.
Listen, I had the burger there. I'm a burger man.
We're not gonna say what the brand of beer they have on tap there, but it is pretty good. And okay, cool. So yeah, definitely check out MJ's Roadhouse in Lucan. And I was just told some breaking news in my ear that we are going to launch a video with one of our new partners either tomorrow or the next day, depending on technology. But be on the lookout for that. And there'll be a little bit of value in there for our followers too. So don't sleep on that. Quarterback market seems like it's kind of shaping out here, but we got a couple other teams that are still in the mix for quarterbacks. Colts, Saints, Panthers come to mind. I don't know if there's anybody else that come to mind for you guys offhand, but if we were going to play a little matchmaker game, where you guys? I feel like Jimmy G's name isn't out there enough.
Well, he's been floated around with Indy, but I think, as much as I'm going to hate to see it because I just love him as wearing blue, I think Mariota's going to end up in Indy, man.
I agree.
This is insane that we're going to see this happen, man. And how often does it happen?
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So not to like homer this thing, but I saw a wish list for the Steelers and it went Trubisky, Mariota, Garoppolo. So that's how they rated the quarterbacks coming in. And obviously they got the one they wanted, but I would have been comfortable with any of those three dudes. And as much as Mariota's maybe, he didn't live up to his Oregon days, I think that there's still something in him that he could play. And he showed it a little bit in with the Raiders, but I mean, Chad, you've coached quarterbacks, you've coached offense, like what do you see in him that he can help out the Colts here, right?
Yeah, like he's obviously super mobile. That's the first thing. He's really athletic, so that's going to help him out a lot. I don't like that he's run first in that system. I don't think the Colts need a quarterback to move the ball. And I think this is why Jimmy G's name's kind of being skipped over. They need a guy who's actually going to leave the run. Like, obviously Carson Wentz did what Carson Wentz does and made some pretty bad throws, but it is who he is, and you know what you had when you had him.
Right.
But bringing in a guy like Jimmy to a run-based offense already, it's not actually taking them to the next level. And I kind of feel the same way about Mariota. They need a guy who's going to throw the ball, and then they can be confident in throwing that ball. So that one, I think Jimmy is a better fit down in New Orleans. I don't want to play him.
Yeah.
He does protect the ball. He does run it. But yeah, I just don't think Indianapolis is that really good fit for him. Or I guess for him it doesn't make a difference, but he's not a great fit for them, is what I should say, because they need a guy to go off the top.
Yeah, it depends, right? If you want to win, you probably go to Indy. If you don't care and you just want to make some money, you probably go to New Orleans. I think New Orleans is gonna suck.
Yeah,
like
I
this.
agree with you.
I think that your division, Chad, barring Deshaun Watson not getting suspended, is probably gonna be like the Bucks are like 13-4, and then everyone else will be like 8-9 or like you know what I mean, like
They're
7
beat each other.
Yeah. So like that's just how I see, like 7-10 looks pretty realistic for the Saints to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just don't think Jimmy's the right fit in Carolina, because I think they need a dude, and unfortunately he's just not that guy. I don't think that team's too good to be focused on the run. They need something to change it up, so guys can leave the box, so that way Jonathan Taylor can run.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? Like when it comes down to it, there is a few quarterbacks left still floating around. Tyrod's out there. I'm not sure if anybody's signing up for him. Jacoby Brissett's still out there. I don't think that the Colts are going to give him a second run in town. These guys are backups. These are guys that won't sign until probably maybe even after the draft, honestly, like depending on if you're trying to fill out your roster for camp. Now, if we were giving up on the quarterback market and going to the running back market, James Conner got paid.
Yes.
Yeah. So did Chase Edmonds, right? He got some money too, right?
Yeah. Look, Arizona seems to be spending the money in the right places. Now we'll see if they give Kyler his deal. He said he wants it done before the draft. I would imagine that's going to happen based on everything that's happening around it. It would be shocking to see them let Kyler walk here, unless maybe some of these quarterback hungry teams, like imagine they don't sign him and the Colts are like, hey, we're going to get Kyler Murray.
Stop.
And that would be wild.
Stop. Why would you wish that on our Dakar conference? He could stay over there. I do still think that there's some trouble brewing in Arizona. Like Chase Edmonds leaving, the first player to talk about it or tweet about it was Kyler, talking about how they got a dog in him and his boy Chase Edmonds and stuff. I think that was a player, like one of those guys. He's like, I just wish we could keep somebody like that around. You know, they have a very unique, blown up contract in Nuck Hopkins. He got paid a lot of money there, and I think that's hampering them right now. They just lost Christian Kirks. That means they're going to lean on Andy Isabella. Just surprised that they wouldn't keep somebody like Chase Edmonds around.
Yeah. I mean,
they did keep Zach Ertz. Good for them in that regard, but
yeah, they got to move on. They got to get paid. Depends on how you want to run your offense. It seems like James Conner was the guy. He did a lot for them last year. But maybe tying some of these things together, there's a strong belief that Saquon Barkley will not take a snap with the Giants again. So, do you think this is all fugazi or what?
Well, you seen what the trade value is? Did you see that?
No idea.
They were saying that the reports of the combine, he could be had for a fourth and a swap of a pick. So like fourth and maybe swapping fifths or swapping sixth. Similar to what they did with Amari.
Why everybody should be signed up for that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it probably even honestly got weaker. If Amari Cooper is getting traded for a fifth and swapping sixth, then I think that you can probably get Saquon Barkley for a sixth and swapping sevenths at this point. Running backs are not valued as much as a wide receiver would be.
Right. So this asshole is going to end up playing for Tampa Bay.
I'll take
well, I don't know. Hey, speaking of that, Leonard Fournette, though, he deleted all of his Fairway Tampa Bay shit, right?
He's coming back.
I think so. I think
playoff Lenny's coming back.
Now
do they got money?
I think he's
do they got money to pay him? Yeah.
Tom's bringing the band back.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if they have the money to pay him, Tom Brady will say that he'll take all the credit for it because he's a fucking asshole like that.
You leave Tampa Tom out of your mouth, you hooker.
Hey, this guy did it to himself. He, for some reason, wants to be like the most talked about person in the world. And like, I don't get, like, he doesn't have to do all this shit. Like, people still talk about him. So, Tom, stop being so insecure, bro. It's not a big deal. You're still popular no matter what you do. Chad would have still loved you. He'll still rock your jersey, I promise.
I would.
All right. So really quickly, I want to talk about this quarterback situation in Cleveland, and then we'll let you guys get out of here. And before we do sign off, everyone make sure that if you want to be in a March Madness bracket, you hit us up because we got some pretty good stuff going on. Last year we were around 20, 25 people in the pool.
I think it's 23 we ran last year.
Yeah, one of O'Brien's boys took that one down, right? So no, Liam's saying no. Apparently, I don't know.
I thought it was one of his boys. I think it was.
Yeah, I think one of Liam's boys won it. Apparently, he didn't share anything with Liam. But yeah, hit us up for that. We'll get you in the March Madness bracket. But yeah, is Baker Mayfield really on the move from Cleveland? I mean, it's not this year, right? It's probably next year.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to bring him back, I think, unless he comes out and takes him to the playoffs again. I don't see how he can be back. But the problem is with him is they've been bad for so long. They've gone through so many quarterbacks. Is he didn't get signed just because he was better than everybody else they've had? Because they're going to win more than 4 games. You're not going to get a top draft pick.
So do you think they should draft a quarterback this year? Like, try and snatch one of these dudes, or like, are they maybe in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes? That seems like a Cleveland move, honestly. Like, they would give 5 first-round picks, like Kevin Costner in draft day. They'll give all these picks, and then they'll realize, like, oh shit, no one came to his birthday party. We shouldn't have traded for him. It's from the movie Draft Day. If anyone hasn't seen it, you should probably go check it out. That joke will be funnier if you watch the movie.
I don't think that that he's getting traded out of there. I just don't. There's nobody. What is the alternative, guys? Like, we looked at the low hanging fruit as far as quarterbacks coming back the other way is somebody like Jared Goff. Is that your solution? Right? Is he better than Baker Mayfield? I don't think so. He's passed.
Maybe they should get Blaine Gabbert. I heard he's on the market.
Oh my God, get off of that.
Well, no, that's what I mean, right? Like, he's the best of what they've had. They're not going to ship him out the door because of their history of how bad it's been. And it
was a short 2 years ago that he had some pretty decent numbers. Like, he had a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He was passing for yards. The entire offense fell flat in its face last year with the injuries to the running backs. OBJ left. I mean, it's another huge loss to the offense that you thought was going to be there. There's nobody that's better than what they've got right now. And I don't see them landing themselves in a spot draft wise, either this year or next year, that they're going to be in the area that they can kind of punch up in the draft to get a quarterback.
Well, you can always trade up, but I mean, if Baker Mayfield stopped doing so many insurance commercials, I'm sure that he could attend more quarterback meetings. I bet you they'd be able to figure out a better game plan for him.
Maybe. OBJ was not happy there though, and Jarvis is getting cut, so something was up there, right?
Yeah. Well, your quarterback sucks. Why would you want to play for him?
That's your mic drop, right?
No, I was just having a sip of my shake lager. I'm enjoying the win.
That's his hot take for the week. Baker sucks. On case closed.
Well, either that or Tom Brady's a scumbag. It's going to be one or the other. I don't know.
The only reason I think that you stick with him too is because you know at this point he can't command the money that Mahomes or them are. They're not going to be handcuffed to this guy paying him $40 million a year or $35 million a year. It just isn't going to happen. If that's the case, then you just franchise tag him anyway. Live year by year with him rather than locking up 5 years at $45 million a year.
You're going to get him for $30 million, so take it and move on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then at this rate, that's a discount, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Offer him 30, let him look like a jackass to say no, and then you did everything right as a franchise.
Yeah, it comes down to like whatever the coach is going to want to do. I don't know. I mean, nobody really knows what Stefanski's feelings of Baker Mayfield are, but it kind of threw me off when Bruce Arians was sniffing around, because Bruce Arians knows quarterbacks. Like, that guy's been around the cream of the crop. If you have been a top quarterback in the last 20 years, you were probably coached in some form or fashion by Bruce Arians. Is that fair to say? Maybe with the exception of Aaron Rodgers?
Outside of Kelly Holcomb, yeah.
Was he with the Browns? I didn't even know he was with the Browns.
Yeah, he was a quarterback coach there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean,
So who was under his tutelage in the last 20 years then?
Carson Palmer.
So yeah, Carson Palmer, Ben
Andrew Luck,
Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Like those are. I mean, I don't know. Like it depends on how big of a football fan you are, but like those are all pretty recognizable names to me.
Oh yeah, where did he get them? At like what point in their career was he coming in at the tail end? Like he got Tom now, or
Peyton
did he actually develop?
Ben was his second year. Luck was a rookie. Carson Palmer was already a veteran, but outside of that, that was it.
Yeah, and what? When did he have Luck again? Was it second year or was it first?
Oh, he had Luck right away. They drafted him.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been around and he knows his quarterbacks, and that's why when I saw it, I was like, fuck, maybe Baker's better. Like, is it possible that like he just has a Cleveland curse on him and he's gonna leave and like be good somewhere? Kind of like if a quarterback sucked in Chicago and then he moved on to like a better city, would he become a better quarterback? And like, I think the answer is yes. No.
What do you, I see what you're.
You're not going to give me that one.
No,
yeah. Hey.
I'm giving it to you by not dignifying it with a response, Shane.
Hey, I appreciate that. It's free agency frenzy. Baseball's back. Free agency in baseball is going nuts too. We're not even going to get into that. I'll probably get into that in the morning brew. March Madness. Yeah,
that's the big news.
Hey,
I love it.
Hey, if you watch the morning brew, you already got that info. That's yesterday's paper.
Mm-hmm.
March Madness starts on Thursday. I guess the first four starts tomorrow. We have tons of stuff going on. These guys are going to officially sign their contracts tomorrow. So hopefully no one visits a massage parlor tonight or no one decides to celebrate early and drive home. So all these guys' contracts are official when they get signed tomorrow. But let's sign off there because Liam's already tired of us. Make sure you're checking out the Instagram. We got the TikTok now. We got YouTube. We got Facebook. I'm pretty sure we have we should probably make a LinkedIn page. We don't have one of those yet. But make sure you're checking all that stuff out. And again, hit us up if you want to be part of the March Madness bracket. We'll get you all linked up and ready to go. And that's it, boys. We will say cheers until next week. And I would imagine this is going to be another wild 7 days.